Hey, what's up? It's Billoftheuniverse, and I'm going to do a chart reading on Niall Horan. I want to say that I've always had a crush on Niall. I've had a crush on him for the last, ever since he did that song, Changes. Ever since they did that song, Night Changes, I've had a crush on him. I noticed him, and I was like, damn, he's cute as hell. This picture is a recent picture of him, which only confirms my love for him. He is, in my opinion, the sexiest One Directioner. I think he's the best. I'm most attracted to him. I like his solo music the most out of everyone's solo music. And I was always convinced that he was Porva Falguni. Intuitively, I was like, he's Porva Falguni, he's Porva Falguni. That song, Slow Hands, da 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 da. That was on the radio in my town. That was like his solo single for us. And I was like, what a good song. And I know Harry Styles is really popular, and he's kind of like the chosen one, isn't he? But with Niall, I was like, I just personally like this song more. It's just sensual and simple and lovely and positive, I was like, it's all the good things. But I was wrong. He's an Uttara Alfuni. He's an Uttara Falguni son. But that Uttara Falguni, that degree, that's like 2 degrees away from Porva Falguni. So I was wrong, but I wasn't like really wrong. I was literally 2 degrees off from the range that I thought he was. And it's just a very, very, very sexy placement. Claire Nocti did a survey on the most beautiful men and women, and by far the resounding placement for men was Uttara Falguni Ascendant, especially the part that's on Virgo, because half of it's on Virgo. And he is an Uttara Falguni Ascendant. This is a very popular placement for a very handsome man. And geez, he is handsome as hell. He definitely fits the bill. I am so attracted. Because it's not just a looks thing. It's an energy thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those of you who love Niall the most, like me, already know what I'm fucking talking about. Like, it's an energy thing. He's just a lover in general, and you can tell. And that's why I thought it was Porta Falguni, because I was just like, oh, I can tell he's so good. But he's Uttara Falguni, which makes sense. That's the like I said, that's the placement most popular for a really handsome man. He has Jupiter and Mercury and Mars in his first house. Jupiter gives you a lot of size. It can give you a big wallet. It can give you a big personality. It can give you a big like length. Like it can give you like make you really tall. In some cases for men, it can make you well endowed. I think it's potential, but I'm not gonna put my money on it because I actually do know the placements for that type of endowment, and wait, I never thought about it. Is it there? No, I don't see it. But Jupiter in the first, it does endow you with something, so that's good. It's also very musical, very artistic, very. Makes sense. It's also a very masculine. It's a very masculine planet. So this masculine planet being in his first, that also kind of like adds to the masculinity of it. And then he's got Mercury and Mars. So Mercury and Mars, it's like a whole lot of activity, a lot of activation, like all senses. So everything has to be expressed. Everything has to be go, go, go. No wonder, because he is one of the more busy other One Directioners after they broke up. I know Harry seems to have had the most success as a solo artist, but Niall is very busy. He's always touring. He's always making music, and definitely indicative of his Mercury in the first, because Mercury in the first, they do everything. They're good at business. They're good writers. This is actually a really, really, really good placement for a writer. Not only does he have Mercury in his first house, but he's also an Aslesha moon. Wait, what is he? Oh, Wait, fuck. What is his moon? I can't go back to the thing because yes, he's an Aslation moon. He's an Aslation moon. Okay, Hasta and Aslacia and Punarvasu are, in my opinion, the three most common placements for writers. I'm a Hasta moon. I write all the fucking time. Punarvasu people are, I see a lot of songwriters being Punarvasu moon, and Aslacia writers, which is him. I see them writing a lot of books actually. And you know who else is Aslation moon? Is his that other one. What's the other One Directioner? Robbie? Wait, it's Niall, the Arab, Louis Tomlinson. He is Aslation. He's in Aslation mood too, and he writes his music. He still makes a lot of music, stuff like that. This is Cancer. Aslation is the star in Cancer. Cancer moon men, Cancer men in general are very cute. They have very cute faces. They have very pretty boy faces. So Shawn Mendes is an Aslacia's son, and NFL people. They usually have kind of more rough masculine faces because they're NFL, right? But who's the prettiest NFL person? Is that Tom Brady guy, right? And he is a Cancer son. So Cancer people, moon men in general are very cute. Yes, so he's a Cancer. Like I said, it just makes a lot of sense. And added to the very like sexual prowess. I thought it was Porva Falguni because Porva Falguni is ruled by Venus. That's why I thought he was Porva Falguni. But he is a Venus native. You can call him that because he has Venus conjunct his moon. Oh my gosh, that's so hot. There's like so much like sex and so much like sensuality and so much laying in bed around and so much all that stuff with the lover. And there's a lot of, honestly, there's kind of a dominance thing with him and his girl, with her being the dominant player. Not only because this is Aslacia, and Claire Nocte actually also talked about Aslacia being dominated, which she was right about. And then also because he has his Saturn in the seventh house of, in his descendant, right? So of his lovers, his partners, stuff like that. And he's got Saturn there. And Saturn is definitely a controller. Saturn is structure. Saturn is older than you. Saturn is more mature than you. Saturn is more grown up. So we all know opposites attract, right? So, when I think of Saturn, I think of Capricorn, right? And then, of course, when I think of the opposite of Saturn, which is probably Moon, because Moon is a princess and Moon doesn't have to exactly work for all that stuff that Saturn has to, right? And also Cancer is Moon, and that's opposite Capricorn. Why am I talking about this? Oh, because you got to think of it that way. Like there's always that those dynamics in a relationship. Well, this chart is saying that he is the Cancerian, he's the Moon person, whereas his wife is the more Saturn person. So because his seventh house is not only have Saturn in it, but it's also in Dhanishta, which means a very good worker. Like his wife could have been in the military. Like that's how structured his wife is. His wife will be very wise and very smart. She could be older. Like she could just straight up be older. But she will be, she might even be taller because Saturn can tend to be tall. Saturn can tend to be lanky. But Dhanishta also is a very sexy placement. So Dhanishta, again, Claire Nocte, you should just check out her channel, right? She pointed out that a lot of supermodels are Dhanishta Moon. So this very, very, very place, like energy is in his seventh house. So the energy of the supermodel. So he could actually go, and that would make so much sense because he's an Uttara Falguni ascendant. Like I said, I mean, he's honestly, this chart is saying that he's kind of the man. He's like the man. He's getting married like a supermodel, definitely. But she could have grew up poor. actually, because Saturn is the low class. Saturn is the working class, the general population, the suffering. And she could have been poor, and then she did some modeling, and then she met Niall, or Niall met her, and they had this great sexual compatible relationship, where actually low key Niall is actually his girl wears the pants in the relationship, because she comes from a poor working class, because she comes from suffering, because she comes from, a different world, and so she kind of is a grown up, or in the very small chance, it could actually be that she comes from a very, 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 like, the very opposite, which is the very, very top class of people. Like, her parents were multimillionaires, or her parents were very, very powerful people, stuff like that. It's always either or. Yeah, but never in the middle. It's like never in the middle. It's usually either she grew up really poor, or she grew up like with very, very wealthy parents. His Rahu's in the fourth, which means vanity is a thing for him. Rahu is obsession, and the fourth house is beauty. Fourth house is security, so money, right? Also, when you have a man who has a heavy fourth house, especially with the Rahu in the fourth, it makes you yearn for that mother figure. And then he has Saturn in the seventh house, which is the authority figure, right? So he has authority, that energy in his seventh house of the relationships. So, and he has his Rahu in the fourth, which is the need for security. So he's gonna have, and he's in Aslesha mood, like with an Aslesha Venus, and Venus is the wife in a man's chart. So that's hilarious. So on the outside, he's Uttara Falguni ascendant. We see this not a player, but we just see like this, just someone who oozes sex, and someone who oozes like male bravado, right? But then in his actual marriage, it could be actually very opposite, where he's basically asking his wife for permission for everything, and his wife is like, yes, no, that kind of a relationship. Yes. His 10th house, he's got Ketu in his 10th house in Rohini. Rohini men are very beautiful and sexual and sensual, and they can have it can go either way. They can either be very buff and very looking like a wrestler, or they can look very some of them have that real gothic dark look. I've seen it where they're kind of weird, like evil looking. And then some people are express the real Venus part of Rohini, and they show their Venus part. They just show their sexual side, their sensual side. They show their sexy side. A lot of these people are very, 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 very sexy. And so he's got his Ketu in the 10th house. 10th house is the most visible house, more than the first house. It's the most visible house. Whatever planet you have, people see that. It shines. I mean, it just does. And he's got Ketu there. So on one hand, also, people could think he's weird, or he could have a weird thing about the way he looks, or the weird thing about the way he talks or is, or something like that, because Ketu is strange. Ketu is like Ketu is strange. I don't know how else to say it. Like, who else has Ketu in the 10th house is Judy Garland. She has Ketu in the 10th house, and she was, I don't know if she was peculiar, but I don't know, just Ketu there's something like a little bit strange there. Also, but you know what it also could mean? Because Ketu deals with past lives. So this could mean that they've done this before. They have a natural proclivity to it. They just kind of know it because they've done it before. Ketu in the 10th, right? That makes sense. But also Rohini is kind of a prince as well. So maybe he hasn't been a musician in his past life. Maybe he's just been a rich boy in his past life, because Rohini can be very taken care of, because Rohini is the moon. And then he's got his sun in the 12th house, which is very interesting, because he's an Uttara Falguni, which on the toxic side can be very player, but he's got his sun in the 12th house. So it's actually, that can be player, because players, you know what they are? They're very protective of their inners. They're very protective of their vulnerability. They're very protective of what makes their humanity. Their their humility. They're very protective of that. They rarely show it, right? Because they're all ego, and it's a lot of it's trauma, right? So sun in the 12th house, people can be kind of like introverted. Actually, they can be actually private people. Some of them, maybe on the toxic side, can be addicted to drinking or drugs or something like that. But on the usually, it just means that they're very sensitive and creative, and they really need their downtime. They really need like their privacy. Sun in the 12th, because Sun in the 12th is like hidden and like gone away, because it's the ending of things. You know, the ending of the illusion. And so the sun is the souls. The sun is the sun is also like so bright, and it loves to express. But in the 12th house, it's like no one. It's like it's hard to like. It's just so much better than, I mean, this is Earth, right? But the 12th house is not Earth. That's the thing. So it's you want people to actually revolve around the sun, right? But it can't. It's kind of hard to do that in the 12th house, because the 12th house isn't. There's no Earth there. There's nothing to worship you in the 12th house. Anyway, I know that's kind of weird to say, because he has a fabulous career, you know. Um, I think it was like his son that's in the fourth Navamsa. Those people, or his one, either his ascendant or his son was in the fourth Navamsa. Okay, that's actually a really cool thing. For some people, when it's in the fourth Navamsa, that means they're so emotional, and they just won't, they won't, they have to be positive at all times. Like it's like they don't acknowledge negativity. They don't acknowledge a bad time. Everything like has to be positive, and even if they're sad, which is ironic because this whole need to be so positive all the time, that can actually accentuate your sadness or whatever. So like in the fourth, but the thing is, they do have truly pure hearts. That's the thing. And so they're very sensitive people. They're just and they're so solar, so meaning they love to do so many activities. They love to travel the world. They love to vacation. They love to live life to the fullest. And the fact that it's the sun and with the 12th house, and that means I see a little bit of drinking there. I see some partying. I see some, okay, I see it. Um what's my point? I don't know. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, guys. Niall, I hope you hear this. You're sexy beyond reason, and I love you. And call me. All right, bye.